Okay, so here's your low poly. Okay, and okay, that's the one with the chamfer on it. Let's see what else you got in here. Okay, this is your high poly you're working on. Okay, and what do we got here? Okay. Where? Okay. All right, so I don't see one without the chamfer on it. So I guess you don't, I guess we don't have one. No, that's got a chamfer on it. Okay, it's best to build with one without a chamfer on it, but okay, I guess you don't have one. Okay, yikes. Okay, so let me go back to this one. All right, we'll just go with this. Great bottom, great top. All right, we'll go here. All right, so I'm just going to make a new layer, and this is going to be Udi high poly crate. Okay. And that one. All right, let's make clones of these. Polycrate base Sudi. Okay, put those in mine. Okay. All right, so here we go. Don't need that smooth in there, and I'm just gonna. I really don't need any of that. All right, here we go. All right, so what we're building is this. Okay, so we're going to start with building this first here. Build that first. So I need this, this, and this. Okay, I'm just going to detach that. We'll just call this edge. And okay, so now I don't need. Don't need that. Control backspace. Don't need this. Control backspace. All right, then. Just gonna hold down the. Okay. All right, so we're gonna put a shell modifier on this, and I need it to go back until it goes all the way through this. So we just keep going. There it is. It doesn't have to be perfect, but pretty much lines it up. So it goes to there. So that's pretty good. I'm going to put an edit poly on this because I want the top to be aligned with the top. What about there? It's a little tall. Let's go back down a little bit. because this top is not flat. Doesn't have to be perfect, but that's pretty perfect. Okay, so there's that piece of wood. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this edge, I'm going to ring it, then I'm going to connect it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is split this and cut it into two pieces. Okay, just so you understand what I did is when I hit split, it cut it in two pieces, and so it's two pieces. And then I want to put a cap holes modifier on it. Okay, and I'm going to put an edit poly on this. You don't need to do this. I'm just doing this to show you that once I put that cap on there, it capped the inside. Okay, so I don't need that edit poly. Okay, so at this point I can collapse that, and then eventually we're going to put a chamfer on it. You'll see that it chamfers the two boards. Okay, so on the chamfer, what I'm going to want is probably two, I could go 3 iterations, and this is probably a little thick. I'm just going to go for 3/10, and of course I want an inset to flatten it out. You know, I may tighten that up a little bit. What if I go for 2? Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so that's the highlight we're going to be casting onto our low poly. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And I'm just going to turn that off because I don't want it right now. I'll want it later. All right, so that gets us that top piece. So what we're going to do here is to all right, so I need this piece to go in. So what I'm going to do is to grab this end and pull it in. And it needs to go, it's got to be about this thickness. We can adjust it again later, but I'm going to say maybe about there. And I'm going to do the same down here. Pull that in. You're trying to get this distance, that to be the same, but we can adjust it later, but that gets us close right there. Okay, deselect. All right, so now I can turn this off. So I'm going to go rotate, and I need this to be on world and this to be on world, and I need my angle snaps on. And I'm going to hold down the shift, and I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. It'll snap together there. Okay, and I want this to be an instance. All right, so now I've got to set these back in. So I'm going to go back to here. I'm actually going to pick this one and that one. And let's go ahead and see the chamfer as we move it. And we're going to want it something about like that. And now that'll stair step together. Okay, and since it's a instance, it did it to both ends. So we can go this again. We can go here. Let's do this one more time. And hold down the shift key, go 90 degrees, and let's time this, say 3. And there is our top boards ready to go. Okay. So now I deleted that chamfer off. So I'm going to, what I'm going to do now is these are not independent. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and save this real quick. And we're going to save this as, I'm just going to put Udi on this so we know this is the one I am doing. There we go. Okay, so now these are all instances of each other that I initially made to make sure that they all fit, and they do. You'll see they overlap a little bit, but that's because when I'm going to put the chamfer on it, they're going to shrink a little bit. I decided I wanted this on 2. So you'll see they're nice and tight here. Even if they had a little bit of gap on them, it would be okay. All right, so that works fine. All right, so let's go ahead and hold down the shift key. We're going to copy these and put another set on the ground. Okay, so there's my woodwork on the top and bottom. So that gives me this bottom piece and this top piece. All right. So we're going to put those together. Let's create a layer with that, and we'll call this edge rings. Okay. And I'm going to put that inside of my thread. Okay, and then I can hide that. All right. So let's see. The next thing I need is what am I doing here? Okay, so I'm going to want this. Okay, we're doing this board here. Okay. So let's go ahead and hide the all right, so we're going to detach that, and we're going to call this, let's call this up runner point. And I can hide this. Okay, so same thing here. We need a shell, and let's turn on this one. So let's go ahead and hide those. All right, so we need to bring this down to pretty much match that one. Okay, then I'm going to rotate this, and I'm going to turn off world. I want it back to itself. Okay, hold down the shift key, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, then I need to move it so that it aligns on this side. And then it aligns on that side. Okay, and then I'm going to put an edit poly on this. Actually, I don't have to put edit poly. Just go back to this one. I'll just grab this edge. And when I made that copy, I accidentally made it a instance, and I don't want it an instance, so all I have to do is go up here and make this unique. And so now it's no longer an instance. So I grab this, and now I'm going to move this. And let's look at the rest of the crate. So I'm moving it so that it matches this low poly edge here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new shader. Okay, got a pink shader here. And I'm going to put that on this low poly base so it's easier for me to see it right now. Okay, so I'm back to here. Get that selected. And now I can see better when I get it lined up. Okay, and I'm just lining it up to this edge where the low poly is. That's good enough. Okay. So that looks good. So rotate back to our world and world. Shift. Hold down and go 90 degrees right there. And I need 3 of those. Okay, so now that all looks pretty good. And there is that part. Okay. Okay, at this point, I think what I'm going to do is clone this as a copy. And then I'm going to put these in a new layer. And I think the reason I'm going to do that is I'm going to go ahead and attach all this together now. What happened there? Okay, let's make sure. These are all not. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. Okay, my nice high poly box. Okay, that looks good. All right, so let's go back. Here. And all right, we we need to make this piece. So okay, not that one. We need to get that out of there. Okay, so this is our new high poly collapsed. Okay, and we're going back to here, and I can move these into a group. And this is our up runners, and I'm gonna put those back in here in our high poly, and so there we go. All right, so here's our crate again. So we need to clone. We'll just attach that. Okay, then we'll want to move this on a local axis. Let's do this. Let's go here. And let's hide unselected. The only thing I can see is this. Okay, I'm going to look down on this. And I'm going to move it so that it aligns to that edge. And this one so it aligns to that edge. Alright, and then pick both of them. Go back to view. Hold down the shift key and drag it back. Matches there. So no gray material back on it. And that looks good. So I can copy this and paste it as an instance on that. And there's the high poly of that one. Okay, and we're going to call this cross member high. Okay, and rotate that from the world center, hold down the shift, rotate it 90 degrees, and I need, and we'll make them instances in case I need to adjust something. So there we go, there's that. And we'll group those together. Yeah, I'm glad I did that with the instances because this doesn't match up. Polycrate, and I need to not hit hidden. Okay, so what I need to do is take one of these. Let's get this one. Just need to make sure. What side am I on? The left side. Backside. Okay, so all I have to do is I'm going to take these vertices, move them in there. This one, move it there. Same here. Move this down. That's already in there. Okay, so fix that gap. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we got to get our little panels on the inside. So what we can do on that is back to this piece that we're cutting apart, and I need to select these inside panels, or these little inset panels. Okay, and then I need to detach those. This will be inset panels. Okay, and then I need to get the inside pit panels. So we're going to go ignore back facing by angle. Okay, and spin around here. Holding the control key to add to these selections each time. Okay, and then we need to detach that. And that's our inner panels. I can spell. Okay, we dump that. And put our okay, and we need these in there too. Alright, let's put the same material on all of these. Okay. Alright, that looks pretty good. Okay, so let's hide that. Let's go back to here. Alright, so here's your low poly. Alright, now we're going to do a test bake. To do a test bake, we need to, these runners will have to come out. So we're going to put an edit poly modifier in here, and we need it needs to be here. Okay, so now we can pick these, and then what we're going to do is right click move and go into our settings here, and then we're going to move them 1 foot out. Now the reason we need to do that is because if we cast their normal while they're inside of that, they're going to bleed onto the area around it, so we're going to move them out to be separate. Alright, so whichever arrow this is, see this says X, we're going to move it on X, and we're going to move it 1 foot, so just type in 1 in there and it'll move it out 1 foot. Okay, now if we're going to go to the opposite side and click on here. Now you'll see the arrows going that way, so it's still X, but we need to go minus 1 foot to pull it out this way. So here's the Y, see it's the Y axis, so this needs to be minus 1 to pull it out. And then we go here, and it's going to be in Y, 1 foot out. Okay, now the reason that we are doing this is so that when we cast the normal on this plank, it doesn't spread onto that. Okay, and the other reason we're doing it this edit poly like this is because later then I can just turn this off and it'll go back together. Okay. Alright, so let's hide that one. Let's bring mine back out. Okay, so in my case here, I'm just going to go ahead and move those, and same thing. So this is Y, 1 foot, and Y minus 1 foot. Oops. Y minus 1 foot. The X, this is 1 foot. And there's nothing magical about 1 foot, but we just need to make sure we're doing the same thing on all of them. I mean, we did 2 foot or whatever. It just needs to be pulled out where it's far enough away from this. Okay, let's go to the low poly, and let's do a test bake. So bake to texture, and we need to add in those inner plates. So right here we need to go pick from list, and let's go. We need to add these inner plates into here. Okay, let's do a test bake. I'm doing a test bake at 512. And that looks pretty good. It looks like we've got a few artifacts in there. We could probably fix those in Photoshop. Okay, so let's go ahead and do, I'm going to save real quick. Okay, so let's go ahead and bake a high one. And I'm just going to pause the recording while it's baking the high one, the high normal out. Okay, so let's look at it. So there's our bake. Looks pretty clean. I don't see a lot of anomalies. Looks pretty good. That's a little close. You got your pack a little close in there. That's close too. Okay. Alright, now I did notice one thing. Let's turn this off. Is some of these corners are kind of off. You can see a gap in there, so I think that's why when I did my high poly they were a little bit off, because these should be interpenetrating through that. I gotta let's turn our so overall it looks pretty good. Okay, let's put our normal on it. So we want to put our smooth back on, and make sure this material's on it. Normal map, general bitmap. Okay, turn the wire off, and then we want to change this viewport to high quality. And I think I'm also going to go into here to my lights and shadows, and for right now I'm going to turn off the ambient occlusion. I think I also want to turn off shadows, so all I see is the normal map. Looking pretty good. Of course, to do the final check, I would check it in Sketchfab. But you can see what happens to it when I unplug the normal map. Okay, so there it goes back to. Let's go. Turn our roughness up so it's not so shiny. Maybe something about like that. Okay, so then watch what happens when I plug the normal map in. And then there's all our information that we're baking off of the high poly. And so that all looks pretty good. Okay, that's good. All right, so let's go do the top. All right, so we'll close this. Turn that smooth off right now. And let's go back to our standard view. And so now what we need to do is let's just off. That all. Okay, so now let's go to the top. What are we going to do for the top? Okay, this looks pretty easy. Okay, so I'm just going to, I think what I'm going to do is, let's just collapse all this. And I'm just going to take let's detach that. And then let's detach this. Okay, so next thing I want to do is square this up. So these are two separate pieces now. So I'm going to pick both of them. and put an edit poly modifier on it. And then I can modify these at the same time. Okay, so I need my snap on. I need to right click, make sure it's on vertex, make sure I have my axis constraints on. So now I can move this, and I'm just going to line that with this, line that with this. So these corners are all straight. So doing this one, that one, and this one, that one. Actually, I don't even really think I need to do that, because the reality is I don't even need these, so I guess that was a waste of time. I still needed to square that one up though. Okay, so I can put a shell on these now. And let's put our top back up for a second. Make sure our thickness, that's a little big. That looks pretty good. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's got to be within a range. Okay, so now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put another edit poly on this. I'm going to isolate it from that other one. Okay, so what's going on? That was weird. Okay. So now I need to pull it out until it gets to turn that snap off so that I can move it slowly until it lines up that edge about there. And I need to do the same on this edge. So this pulls out. And this edge, so it pulls out. Okay, that looks good. Okay, alright, so then I need to do this one. Put an edit poly on it. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Not that, but just pull this out so that you'll see it. There we go. And we don't need to do anything to those ends. That looks good. Okay. Okay, so that looks good. So, to rotate, world, pull down the shift, we'll undo that. I gotta have my angle snap on. Shift, and I need to rotate this 180 degrees. I'm gonna make these instances. Something I don't like about it. Okay, so this we need to move with the snap, and so snaps there. And since this is an instance, it'll work it on the other side too. Does look like this is out just a little bit farther than the other one. So that's on the X. So if I go here on the X, smaller. That looks good. And since that's an instance, it did it to the other side too. Okay, that looks pretty good. Alright, so what do we need now? Okay, so let's name these. These are, go to our rename object. This is our top edges. Let's number those. Okay, so let's go here. Actually, we don't need that in the top here. Okay, so I need this. Okay, so we're going to deal with the bottom too. So, alright, we'll go ahead and detach this. This is the top. And it says, okay, so let's put these all together in a group, in a layer rather. This is going to be called the top. Okay. Alright, and then we need to let's see how I want to do this. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to grab this ring all the way around it that lines up to there, and I'm going to go create a shape from that selection. I want it to be linear. Click OK, and then I'm just going to hide the top. Let's hide these for a second. Okay, and look at the shell on that. And we need to make sure how thick it is, so we need to hide the top and then bring that in so it just matches that right there. Okay, and then I only need these corner vertices, so I'm going to pick all of these and then Control I to invert and delete those other vertices. Okay, and I think I need to go ahead and just get rid of this polygon. We don't need it. Okay, that looks pretty good. So this is the bottom protrusion, whatever. All right, let's put this purple material on this too, just to make it easier to delineate. I don't like this inside here, so on this and here, and we need to pull that in so it shows right there. Okay, that looks good. And I need to do that on this too. Okay, so I'm going to need to adjust these ends. So here, I go to there, and here, back over to there. Okay, so that's your inset, that's your bottom. Okay, let's just do a test here, put our chamfer on there, and it should be, what do we do, 2? I think I got 2. 2 here, and insets, and there's the high poly. Okay. I'd left this on. This is where I didn't shut my door. Shame on me. That's why I didn't do that. So there we go, and there's the top. So there we go. That's the high poly. And then, of course, you would just copy this and duplicate it, put it down there. And there we go. Okay. And what I could have done, I didn't, but I'll just go ahead and do the same thing here. So we can move this. And this goes on the X, so we need to move it 1. This one, -1. This is on the Y, it's a minus, so -1 on the Y. Oops. Sorry. Should have been 1, so now do 2. And that's the minus. -1. Okay, so what I can do here is on these pieces, put an edit poly modifier on this. And now, at this point, take each one of these and move it out. And that way, later, I can turn this on and off. Will that not work? Huh. If that's because it's an instance. It's probably because I have the chamfer on there. So if I do it, load the chamfer. So I don't need to put it on all, I just need to put it on the 1. Okay, so here and there and move, and it's Y minus Y minus 1. There we go. So now I can have this going back and forth too. Did it not go above it? Yeah, I can't go above it. It's got to go below it. Okay. And there we go. High poly. Ready to rock. Okay. Hopefully that helped you. Thank you.